Here we go.
Oh my God, here we go.
Let's rock.
Hello, I'm Lauren Bouchard. This is the cast commentary of the Bob's Burgers movie. We are doing this. It is February. The movie comes out on Memorial Day weekend. Let me introduce the cast. John Benjamin is with us. He plays Bob. John Roberts is with us. He plays Linda.
Hi.
Dan Mintz is with us. He plays Tina. Eugene Merman. He plays Gene.
Ooh.
Kristen Shaw. She plays Louise. And my co-writer, Nora Smith, is here. She wrote the movie with me. She co-runs the show with me. And we are so glad to be able to all get together. We don't have Larry Murphy, our sixth Beatle and our other regular. He has COVID, and he's not feeling very well.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
I know, somebody had to.
Yeah. Well, this will be a time capsule. There's a thing called COVID, everybody. If you're watching this in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I feel something coming on for the live shows.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Coming back soon. We'll be together again. And for the purposes of recording this, we are not together, except for Dan and Kristen. You are close to each other physically.
Yeah, we're partitioned by glass.
As per contract.
Dan's contract.
That's right. So we're watching the movie. Some of us can see it and we can hear it playing in the background a little bit. I was going to ask you guys questions about the movie to get us started and to just hear your thoughts and reflections on this thing. I have an easy one to start with. We are coming up on hopefully what will be a premiere date. What will you wear to the premiere?
This is a John Roberts kickoff question because he is the king of fashion.
What?
Yeah.
No.
You're right. John, pick us out an outfit for all of us.
Well, I think we got to go in some kind of costumes related to the show.
Neck braces, right? Neck braces.
I think we do neck braces at Comic-Con. We save it for Comic-Con and build the suspense.
Yeah, that's true. I shouldn't have said anything.
The movie, I think we got to go in some kind of costume. I'm going to go as Tootsie, Dustin. I'm going to go as Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie.
So confusing. So we're going as characters from other movies.
I actually might go as whatever Dustin Hoffman wore to the premiere of Tootsie. Which I'm hoping is just like a beige jacket, maybe some sort of suede, and jeans.
That's hot.
And I'm gonna dress. I'm dressing as Dustin Hoffman from the premiere of Marathon Man.
Good. The drama, somber, a little more serious.
Excellent.
Dan, you can have Rain Man.
Oh, yeah.
And I could see Kristen as the Peter Pan one, the Captain Hook.
Captain.
Well, I bought a sequined outfit that I was going to wear when I thought I was going to be in a TV show that fell apart. And I still never wore it anywhere. Maybe I'll wear it for this. It's very shiny.
Oh, I love sequins.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You're gonna wear it in the show?
Yeah.
Which show is that?
It was the show that Simon Rich developed with
Oh,
me.
yeah.
And I was like, I should get this
That's a
because
good
we're
show.
going to go to the TCA. That didn't go.
Well, he's always doing shows.
Yeah.
So you'll get to wear it again for Simon Rich show.
I think I was the one bad luck. When you get invited to do weird things that are cool, they're not going to go. They're not going to go. Except for Bob's.
We're in the middle of the first song. You guys remember recording doing your singing sessions? Is that a fond memory for those of you who sang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was, yes.
Look, I love that Bob's creates the illusion that I can sing. And Ken is still a stretch, but, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And you're a musical like you love music as a character.
I love music as a character. What's amazing is not being able to sing, but having Gene, like that through technology, Gene can sing better than me. Because he can sort of keep a bit of a rhythm.
It's really easy to sing if you can do one note at a time.
You have to auto-tune one syllable at a time.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I think that's all of us.
What's nice about all of you is that despite the fact that we do a little bit of, pitch correction and editing, you
Except for
all
me.
have,
Except for me.
except for Kristen, of course, in her contract, it's always one take and that's it. But all of you have performed live, have sung in front of a live audience. This is not a Milli Vanilli situation. You guys have all gone on stage and belted out Bob's Burgers songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. John Roberts, you can sing. You're a singer.
Yeah, John Roberts can hit a note.
He can actually sing.
I can. Well, me.
You're an artist.
You have music videos, John Roberts.
Yeah. You have music videos.
I could carry a tune. Yeah, I got the music in me. Yeah.
But yes, it's true. We've all gotten on stage to sing.
This is my solo. Shush, shush.
Oh. Well, how did you feel? How did you feel when you sang it?
Oh, I got really emotional. Remember, I started crying in the booth because I got really deep into this 9-year-old's fear. And I
Wow.
started crying like I was like Rihanna when she cried on stage singing that song about breaking up or something.
Yeah.
I was Rihanna for a second.
Wow.
It was good. It was a good feeling.
And then they were like, that didn't work. We gotta redo it. That was really not what we were going for.
I know. That's when Lauren said, "Don't cry through the song. You can't."
That happens every time I record a song.
I think I might be going through some hormonal changes, honestly, with my old age, because I am more emotional than I've ever been in my life. It's cool.
Right.
Yeah, same.
Me too, sister. Me too.
There's some commercials I can't watch, I think.
Yeah.
Getting soft. We're getting soft.
Yeah. Yes.
That Imodium commercial.
Yeah.
Reverse mortgages. It's just the lack of planning makes me tear up.
Can we talk about how good the dancing is with the animation?
Yeah.
So good.
And we actually do the dancing, and then they animate it to our dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing. What people don't know is that we wore those suits with all the green little balls in a room to do all the acting. Yeah.
For 4 months in a studio. For 4 months. 6 feet apart.
You know who actually did a lot of the dancing? Who's on this commentary with us is Nora. She is frequently asked to record herself dancing and then sends it to Bernard.
Sometimes I volunteer. I volunteer a lot.
She does. It's true.
Oh, that's funny.
And can that be on the DVD as well?
Oh, yeah.
We should put some of yours on.
Yeah, we should have the dancing outtakes to be like, oh, wow, this is how
We should
do it.
get that shit on TikTok.
David Wayne is going to be on. He's given us permission. He also danced for his character for the Grover song, and it will be on the DVD.
It's funny. Nobody ever asked me to dance.
I think you might be too good at dancing. It's bad dancing.
Oh, that's a good one, Nora.
So, in my joke, we're the only ones you didn't ask to dance.
You're too good.
You're too good. I am like Tony Manero.
Who do you dance for, Nora? What character?
I dance for everyone. Yeah.
Who knew? She's a secret dancer.
I think our other secret weapon is Bernard, because he loves doing the dancing and is able to bring it to life in a way that I think, no offense, Bernard, but looking at the guy, you wouldn't say that he's, gonna be able to inhabit these characters' bodies so completely, but he really loves dance and completely gets the idea of these big musical numbers and a little bit of silliness mixed with a little bit of actual, rhythm and a sort of kind of a professionalism that is shocking. He could have worked in 1940s Hollywood.
I mean, I've seen Bernard. I've seen his body, and I don't know why you're so shocked. He can move.
He's at a temple.
Well, he's like a muscular Australian man, and I just picture him wrestling like wild animals, I guess. But this movie was an opportunity to go into the dancing and go deeper, do more, indulge, record, more of Nora dancing and more of Bernard dancing and just try to really bring it and make sure we did the best that we could. It was really, really fun. I hope we get to do more just for that. Just to be able to do more of these numbers. It really feels like the characters really look like themselves even when they're dancing better than they should be able to.
So eventually we'll have to dance live.
Oh.
That's a twist.
Yep. You work with a choreographer, months of rehearsals.
Yeah, I look forward to the lessons.
I love it. Snap crotch leotards.
I think it's worth it. We've come to the inciting incident.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. Something bad's gonna happen.
Nice shots.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, and yet it was all set up. It was hinted at that there was a crack in the sidewalk, and now we find out.
What are they gonna do?
We decided this would be this was reminiscent of all the bad things that befall the family in the opening credits of the TV series. You see the car crash into the telephone pole, et cetera, and this was sort of like the ultimate of that.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, worst case scenario, and then it gets worse. It gets even worser, which is I believe is a good writing technique.
And now sinkholes. Let's talk about them. They take place a lot in Florida. Is that where this show is located?
They are more likely to occur in Florida because of the geology there, but we are not set in Florida. This show is set in roughly New Jersey.
No.
You've never been to like Coney Island?
Or like Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in Manasquan, New Jersey. No, I don't know.
Was that where you are, John Roberts?
There are. No, we just looked at some houses there.
But with the architecture of San Francisco, that's why it's so hard to place. It's the architecture of San Francisco in the East Coast.
That is right.
It's amazing what you can do with animation. You can
Yep.
take buildings from one part of a country and move them to a slightly different part. That's what makes animation amazing.
I know.
Oh, is that what you're saying? The architecture of San Francisco. That's true, right?
Absolutely. Yes. 100% architecture from San Francisco.
Yeah, remember when we were there, and Lauren?
What's that?
Lauren, you took us to. We went out to dinner, and then we walked in front of your old house that you modeled everything on, right? After the building.
Yep. Bob's Burgers building, for those of you that don't know, entirely modeled after a little condo that we lived in for years in San Francisco. The downstairs was not a restaurant, but in all other ways, it is sort of architecturally the same. And the interior layout is exactly that. And it's very helpful. This is advice to animators. Do base your interiors off real places if you can, because then you know the answer to the questions that will inevitably come up. Like, oh, is there a closet there? Is there a window there? And you always know, because if you know the real interior, you could be the expert of it. It's handy.
Is Mr. Fischoder's mansion based on your new house?
We haven't bought a house that is a. Yeah, we have to wait till we get a good one, and yeah, that's why you haven't seen the interior yet. Much. So, what do you think? We got an opportunity to do the movie. My sense was that it was fraught. I was always scared that if you do a movie, you run the risk of breaking your show, and that, in an earlier, I don't know, a few years earlier, if they'd asked, I might have said no. I was really nervous that you can't do a movie justice and come back at the end and have a TV show that still makes sense. There's a sort of a needle to thread there. And I was worried that the show is, we wallow in smallness, and we enjoy smallness and, low stakes or emotional stakes that are internal. And so it also felt really tricky to pull off a movie. What do you guys, did you guys have any of that trepidation when we called you and told you there was going to be a Bob's movie?
Yeah, I definitely had the same kind of thoughts. But I was like, as soon as I saw it, saw that it was like such a good level of stakes. It was exactly like big enough to be a movie, but small enough to not ruin the show.
Good answer.
I was like, I'm going to be in a movie? Oh my God.
That's me too. Me too. Yeah. Well,
It's very exciting. I mean, there's previews in movie theaters. It's pretty exciting.
It's true. What about you, Nora? Were you nervous?
I was just like, how are we gonna write a movie when we have to do a show every day, all day long?
Right.
Mostly, I just think about how long we're gonna have to work on things.
We had to work
No, there's no
along.
time. Goodbye. Stop calling.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've often explained to anyone who will listen, which is not that many people, but that we were in the middle of rehearsing that live show, that 2 nights only in LA musical live show, when they called us. And I feel like it influenced, at least speaking for myself, it gave me much more confidence. We had this horn section that we were rehearsing with. We had the backup singers. We had commissioned those puppets. We had splurged, and we knew we were going to have the confetti cannons. And so for me, I always thought that we were sort of moving towards being able to put on a big, really put on a spectacle, and that maybe we could pull off a movie. But I think it really helped that we were going big for that live show.
I remember that live show. I remember that moment in the dressing room when you said we were gonna do a movie, and all I could think of was, we gotta do some tours to promote the movie. We'll go to every town in America. We'll do a Bob's Burgers live show to kick off the movie. What year is this gonna be? And I think the year was gonna be like 2018 or 2017. The movie was gonna come out.
2020.
It's gonna come out in 2020 or
I think it was
so.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we'll get to tour our homes.
Virtual premiere.
At least the movie theaters are open.
It is great to go. The tours were huge. They were so fun. The live shows are so fun. And I agree. It made sense. And John Roberts, you had this idea that we should, do the movie, do premieres like Rocky Horror and make it feel like Comic-Con, have people come in costume, or encourage people to come in costume. And I do hope we get to do some of that.
We can do that in each of our towns.
Exactly.
We can go.
Exactly.
Make this like a midnight movie.
I'll host a bunch of screenings in Massachusetts.
I'd host a screening in Red Bank, New Jersey. They do a Rocky Horror there every Friday, so I bet the audience is already there.
I think it would be great. Let's see if we can make it happen.
But by the time this comes out, people will know if we really did this or not.
Right.
That's true. Don't put that in there.
Maybe this will be like The Room, like the movie The Room.
Like maybe this is something for like the 2-year anniversary in 2024. We'll do a celebration of this movie.
Do you think we should do it again?
Do another movie.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get it? Do you think they'll let us?
Seems like Nora doesn't want to.
Another one.
She's scared.
She's like, oh my God, I gotta write.
I feel like it's worth doing another movie just to burden Nora.
It's like 3 shows.
Another one.
Come on, Nora.
Yeah, I would love to do another one if this one works, and also do another one where we don't have to make it during COVID.
Yeah, I would love to do another one if this one doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's make these forever, regardless.
No matter how good they are.
It's very convenient.
Yeah.
It was very convenient to be in voice acting during COVID.
It's true.
Yeah.
One of
That's right.
the top jobs.
Yep.
Well, this was a bright light during COVID. Because we pretty much started during COVID, and
Yeah.
it was, although difficult to be away from everyone, it's definitely really amazing to keep working and laughing.
It's true.
Yeah, just so the people listening know, I haven't seen my cast except for Dan, who I'm not gonna touch the partition line.
We're not
In
yours.
years, my cast.
We're yours.
In a couple years now, maybe almost 3 years, I think I haven't, and I'm used to seeing them a lot more. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be
true.
great to touch your faces again, like I like to do.
Yep. but the virtual interactions during the first half of COVID, like when we would record, were some of the only human interaction we had. We were allowed.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chit chat.
It was bittersweet.
A lot of chit chat. It was the only time we were allowed to talk to people.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's what I don't miss: the smell of John Roberts' cologne.
Oh, first of all, it's such a nice cologne. It's not like a gross
Oh, I know.
cologne-y smell. It's
No, I have a Proustian memory of that. Your cologne.
Proustian.
It takes me back.
You hate anything that smells good, and I smell delicious. Everyone always says, wow, you smell so good, and the only person that doesn't is you. Okay, John? And if you'd ever smell your breath when you'd been in the booth, it's not pretty.
I'm sorry about that. That's true. I will get that fixed.
No, just kidding. That's not true. That's not true. I
I
lashed
have
out.
been meaning to. I've
lashed
been
out.
meaning to.
No, you've never had bad breath. You've never had bad breath. If anything, you have a very dry lip. And that can be very distracting sometimes. But very dried out, pruned out face. And
Yes.
those evil blue eyes, those piercing,
Anything.
judgmental eyes. Just
I didn't mean to say
Curtains
anything.
through
been
my
pulled,
soul.
you guys.
But other than that, we have
my
a beautiful
God.
relationship.
I should not have said anything about the cologne.
I just want to say I hope everyone loves this movie and all of the shows that we've recently made, and not to be a cop out, but I think these things were were written and produced and filmed in extreme circumstances. Like everybody, including animators and writers and voice actors, were doing it like in our closets, in an office, lots of us with kids trying to learn and running around us. And so I guess these shows in this movie kind of coming out from a period of extreme duress. So if you feel like the quality's bad, I'm sorry. Okay, like, we did the best we could.
I went back into the closet for this movie.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that you're pointing that out, and it's worth celebrating and recognizing the crew in particular. I mean, this movie here, we were trying to do the best version of Bob's that we'd ever done to make everything movie quality and beautiful, and we have to do it under the hardest circumstances. We have to do it, by remote, and do it with almost everything going against us. And so to the extent that we achieved it and we made the movie we wanted to make, it really is miraculous. And did the TV show at the exact same time. It is extraordinary, and it is there are people who worked really, really hard under really weird and sometimes uncomfortable circumstances, and it's kind of incredible that we were able to stay in production at all. I know animation, like we got sort of, like John was saying, like we can do it. It's, during lockdown, technically it's not a risk in terms of our health, but boy, oh boy, from every other point of view, it definitely got harder.
Especially if you didn't have a sound booth and they were doing construction next to your house every day. That was rough.
Yep.
Yeah, it's why there's so much banging in all the Gene lines.
Yeah, we had to write it in.
A lot of renovation happening. People were like, well, if I'm going to be home for the next few years, I'm turning it all into an office.
There's so much that had to be written into the movie.
Yeah.
Birds constantly chirping.
Yeah.
A lot of renovations.
Toddler.
Babies crossing the
Wow.
street.
Dogs.
Yeah.
All the kids have more kids.
Yeah, babies walking by outside the restaurant.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
So we're saying just be nice about the movie.
It was a lot. There was no question, but it really, we did leave it all in the field. It definitely, we had a great, I think, conversations with the studio about when we could, really be ready with this thing, and they were generous and made sure that we had time to finish it, and that was great. That was helpful. Really felt, like, all right, we'll be behind our original schedule, but in most other ways, we were kind of, arrived in a perfect release date. Memorial Day weekend of this year is not only good, hopefully, please, knock on wood, from the point of view of public health, but also it happens to be almost exactly when the movie is set. We really wanted to come out on the last, weekend before school ends, because this story is about the last week of school before the end of the year, and going into summer, and it just was so important to us that we didn't end up premiering in the fall or in the winter.
Yeah.
So we got lucky there.
Yeah, it's easier to dress in a costume, too.
Or having to add a bunch of weird Christmas imagery throughout.
Yeah.
What are you looking at there? A fun rock?
Louise, that's evidence. You should have given that to the police.
What, tooth of fur? No, this is mine. I earned it. When you go into a hole...
Accidentally fall into a hole?
Gracefully tumble in while screaming.
Go into a hole, you get to keep whatever lands in your mouth. That's a rule.
That's true under the bleachers, too.
Plus, look at it. Isn't it the weirdest shaped tooth you've ever seen?
Okay, maybe not too close. Oh,
You can't handle the tooth.
It was in my mouth, Tina.
It's just, I think it's like against the law for you to have that.
Don't worry, it's just a souvenir. I'll keep it to myself. Check it, people, a dead man's tooth.
and she's showing the whole school.
I went down to the sinkhole at night, found a skeleton. This tooth fell in my mouth. Did somebody say that's badass? Like the ultimate dead man's drop? I mean, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
It was very dramatic, and we got it all on tape.
Oh.
But we gotta get it transferred to a format that anyone else in the world has.
I think my dad has that kind of player.
This just looks like that kind. Questions.
Oh my god, Eli put his retainer on a chain and gave it to you? So romantic.
Yeah, we're gonna be summer boyfriend girlfriend.
Wait, but doesn't he like that?
Remember this part?
I do. We had to figure out how to get in as many characters as possible, and it was harder than we thought. We thought we could just run through all the favorite guest characters and they could just pop in, but many had to be cut from early drafts because we just couldn't fit it all in, make a movie that wasn't 4 hours long.
Is it too late to add Matt Damon?
Like a cameo or as a character?
We have the character design.
That could work.
Whichever.
He was the one you had to cut. You just couldn't find room.
Yeah.
It was either him or Ben Affleck. You had to cut one.
Let's go on.
Yeah. Him. Yes.
Here's John Benjamin's favorite character to play, Ms. LeBon's.
Fourth graders, why are you not sitting down? Or are you sitting? It's hard to tell. You're all so small.
The most grueling character I play on television.
That's right, emotionally.
Yeah. The one where I can't stop coughing after for a half hour.
Yeah. We had an amazing art director on this movie. I want to recognize Ruben Hickman while we're watching some of these scenes. The lighting and the light, the actual idea that there's a directionality to the light, and of course shadows on the characters, but really just shadows everywhere, light everywhere. It was so fun to go to every single meeting that we had about production design, background design, prop design, everything, because it was all lit by this guy with this incredible eye and great touch. I thought it was like sort of, some of my favorite meetings were just going in to see what the art was looking like. And it just, at every moment, it seemed like somehow the show, but as painted by Edward Hopper or something like that, it just kept getting more and more moody and evocative and kind of real.
Are you hitting on the movie, Lauren?
I was really impressed by the people working on this film. I will admit, I was really impressed. I thought that it would be the picture would be harder, but everyone was extraordinary. Bernard, such a talented director and artist, that the art was just always there. It was on us nor on me to ruin it. It was ours to lose.
Wasn't everybody worried that the show would look terrible after the movie just because the movie is so beautiful? Like when you clicked from the front of the restaurant, like from the movie version to the regular show version, you're like, ugh. But it'll be fine. Forget I brought it up.
Well, now I'm worried.
Nora.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure we could always, triple the budget to make it always movie quality.
It followed the rules of Dogma 95. Is that correct?
That's correct. We had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, was this movie done on an iPhone? That's what I read.
It was all natural animated light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we have, hopefully it will be some sort of fun to go back to the TV show and experience it after the movie. We in terms of story, we tried to make sure we brought everyone back, like that we did no harm. First, do no harm. We had to, have the characters all have an arc and have the whole thing feel really eventful, and then come back and you could watch an episode that night if you were so inclined, and it wouldn't feel discontinuous. But the shadows, nothing we can do about that.
I think the lighting is wonderful. And I'm glad it sounds like you didn't kill anyone in the movie. You didn't, at the end of the movie, all the people who are in the world, in the universe.
What you shouldn't say. We should not say.
Right, we won't say which of the main characters we killed until you get to the end of this commentary.
Well, I don't think you'd watch this for the movie for the first time with a commentary. I don't think we need to worry about spoilers.
Right. That would be a weird way to do it.
First, I want to hear what they have to say.
Maybe you got into a skiing accident and you're on quite a bit of Vicodin, and this is how you're watching the movie.
It's true. Someone right now is trying to click commentary off.
Right now? They waited this long?
Yeah. For the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, I can't figure this damn thing out.
Wondering how we know that they're 81 years old and on Vicodin.
From a skiing accident?
It's a big part of our demographic.
Yeah, well, they got into the skiing accident when they were 78.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's a sad story.
And there's only 1,600 people in the the world that have a DVD.
Yeah, we're hoping to get all of them a copy anyway. This is for you. It's for you, you 1,600.
Will this also be available as commentary through iTunes?
Good question. I don't know. That's a great question.
This is like the Pam and Tommy Lee tape. 89.99.
I don't know if he's innocent, but he's going to prison.
Well, at least the other prisoners will like his eye patch. That's a good look for prison. You know, conversation starter. Bye, kids. Have fun at school. Gene, I hope we do okay on that math homework. I was really winging it. 4.
I hope so too. Good guess.
All right,
Look at that light.
Look at that light. Beautiful.
That
You only get light like that in one place, Manasquan, New Jersey. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's true. Based on the arc of the sun, that is definitely Jersey light.
Wait, is this happening at 2 p.m.?
Yeah, no. This was 8 a.m.
That is Jersey light.
Yeah, the whole thing has been worked out within an inch of its life, or we cheated. Either one is true. Both are true. When we asked about the direction of the sun, it was often time correct, and then other times we cheated, and I felt no shame. It was always for a good reason, or creatively.
Question. For the TV show, were you ever like, oh, let's consider the light source?
Oh, yeah. Every once in a while, for sure. Yes, we've had some early morning or mid evening types of shows where it's like, okay, where does the sun set, and what would sunset look like if it's explicitly in the story? But it's few and far between. It is not. It wasn't as much as a topic of conversation as it was.
In here, there was like a sunset coordinator.
Yes.
For the TV show, it's just like, it's around 4 p.m. Who cares?
Yep. That is right. We actually tracked the time of day through every scene, and it was definitely more than one person's job to make sure we got it right.
Whoa.
There were 2 sunset coordinators. I know that's what they're called.
Yep, 100%. It's the all-union gig.
12-hour turnaround, the whole thing.
Yeah, and you can't use a sunrise coordinator for the sunset.
No.
Made that mistake before.
Stay low, follow my lead. Try to look like alley trash.
Or raccoon poop.
Kids are off on their adventure. A little mystery solving afoot here. We were doing a genre riff here. Nora, do you want to speak to this? We talked ad nauseum about whether it was a true mystery or a true musical or it was just a genre mashup. We settled on the latter, but it was really interesting to figure out how much of the formula we wanted to use.
The formula of a mystery.
Yes.
The formula of a musical is just that every once in a while they're singing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't negate something being a mystery, or does it?
I would say the two are compatible, but the more music you put in, the less everything else matters. We paired back.
That's what Murder, She Wrote. That was their act.
As the writer's room mantra on Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, exactly.
Fewer songs.
That was a great show. Really got me through COVID.
I mean, if that only had music, it would have been a great show.
But the more music you put in, the less mystery can happen.
It was more like, I think it was, how confined do we feel by genre conventions, and how much did we want to take... Sorry, I know I posed this as a question to you, Nora, and then I never asked you a question. But I think it was like, what's the thing that we need and want from for example, a murder mystery or a musical, and what do we not want to feel compelled to do? And it was, I found the whole thing exciting. It was kind of fun to figure out what the formula was, and then figure out what ways we weren't obligated to follow it, strictly.
Well, we knew we needed clues that they found that came together at the end, because we've seen that on things.
That's the mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had to go places and talk to people.
Yeah.
So they did that.
We had a draft where Bob and Linda were much more involved in solving the mystery, and we paired that back.
Yeah, it was like a LA Confidential type thing where they were both trying to solve it at the same time from different angles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But as actors, we could not have pulled that off.
Yeah, I don't know if I got that in my chops.
You guys saved, you saved the songs for, sort of the internal desires of the characters, right? That's what I sort of got.
Yes, there's the I Want song at the beginning. They want to have a great summer. And then there's Louise's I Want song, which is kind of mixed in with these carnies.
Yeah, with the mystery.
Yep. And with these characters who in some ways, don't get a ton of dimensionality, but they get a song, which I thought was nice, that the carnies and the kids are kind of one is questioning the other as if it was a murder investigation, but in fact they're all kind of on the same side, looking for a little respect, feeling a little mistreated, which was, we thought it gave the carnies a reason to be in the movie.
I would say also if we're like, I don't know, they're probably putting too much on this song, but if it's a movie about optimism and pessimism, that the Lucky Duck song, they sort of just accept their fate pessimistically, and they're like, we'll just, be down on our luck and stay that way. And then Louise is like, I'm going to, she, I guess, takes a more optimistic approach of actually becoming activated and stuff. If people want to write a paper about it, I don't know.
I like it.
I like that.
I can't wait till this movie is assigned in a lot of different classes about a lot of stuff.
And in film classes.
You never know.
If you're listening to this in film class, switch colleges.
Well, Lord, what did you like about writing a movie version versus a TV version? What was the freedoms you could enjoy more by making a movie of the Bob's family?
I liked every single part of it. I found the process to be so pleasurable. It was so much fun. We were in this very room, Nora and I, for many weeks at a time, and it was, it felt like taking a class. I had myself have not written a movie. I don't think you have either, Nora. So we had to learn how to do it at the end of every day.
Without reading any books. We promised we'd read no books about it. People kept trying to make us read books. We said, no.
We skimmed the cliff notes.
Not even Catch 22?
We were aware there were rules.
Save that cat.
We were told we were in violation of some of the cat rules. Yep.
Every day, Robert McKee would come over and talk to us for 8 hours.
This isn't a story?
Say, not again, Robert. Sorry, Lauren, what were you saying?
It's modeled after Atlas Shrugged. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's correct. A lot of people don't know that.
Of killing another carny?
I think that's right. Is that right?
It's bad enough that Mr. Fish Order kills one of us, which is bad boss alert, am I right?
Yeah.
But to throw it back on us?
Hey, they're just kids.
Kid cops, little kid cops. They have those, for going into small spaces and hiding in boxes.
Nah, I know these guys. They're not cops. They're little burger babies.
Maybe don't use that word.
What, burger? Sorry, meat patties?
It's just too much. First Fish Order kills Cotton Candy Dan, now this? I may have a tattoo of a dagger stabbing a heart going up into a skull and it says dead inside, but I have feelings, Some lucky ducks get all the luck, some break their backs to make a buck, and sure we are a bunch of shady criminalish gents and ladies. But we did our time, we paid for our crimes.
Well, most of us.
And our misdemeanors, now we sell-fight dough in wieners. Even though we're kind of sketchy gals and fellas.
Some dancing here while we talk about themes. This is
the Lucky Duck song, right?
Yes, this is it.
Yes.
Our Hard Knock Life riff here.
Yep.
In the Carneapolis. A new location. That's another thing I loved. I loved training our brains to think visually and think about set pieces and big new locations. We were so, I think, interested in expanding the town, but in a way, you have to be careful not to go out. You don't want to keep going out and adding locations. So part of what was fun about this movie is going in, going in between buildings and into these vacant lots for this scene and into the wharf, the Wonder Wharf, secret room later on, and always kind of expanding the place visually and conceptually, but not by just leaving it, by kind of digging deeper into this place you've already been.
Are there any locations that were in the movie that have now since made it into the TV show? Or are going to be in the TV show that are new to the movie but will be in the TV show?
Good question. This would definitely be one of them. We could go back here.
Well, the pavement in front of Bob's is different because of the thing, right?
One of my favorite shots in the movie right there.
That's a boring one.
That's right.
Oh, that's a cool Easter egg.
That's right. We made the pavement. And we put the crack in the...
Meaning the pavement, once it's fixed in the movie, in the TV show, it looks different.
Yeah, we did that thing where you can tell the asphalt is newer.
Oh,
they're gonna,
in
that's
the TV
awful.
show.
And that's like through for like whatever everything that comes out after.
Yeah, and for a whole year, people have been hopefully catching here and there a crack in the sidewalk and people tripping on it.
Janelle
wow.
said you put a crack.
Oh, that's very good.
Oh.
We did that all through this season. We have a couple little moments when people trip on it, and anytime you look at the exterior, you'll see the crack in the sidewalk.
So there's clues in the TV show that are applied to the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Step on a crack, break your mama's back.
That's fun.
That's very fun.
Why didn't you? Now it's only revealed now.
Should I tweet that now so people can look for it? Like, there's clues about the movie and the TV show if you look closely.
Yeah.
I think so.
Maybe it's clue. Is it
Yeah.
plural clues or singular?
There's a clue in the TV shows if you look closely about what happens in the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's true
Right.
fact.
Well, each trip is a different clue.
Yeah. Take a trip down crack.
Okay, I'm going to tweet that if I got permission.
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah, we'll all do it.
We were talking about going back to Carneapolis
Yeah.
with one of the writers the other day. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think we should. It's a great spot. And I guess we can go back to the secret room. It's going to still be there.
Right.
Then we can go back to the band shell, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Is Dove ever going to come back?
Who?
Dove? Lorraine Newman?
Oh, Dove, the singer Dove who lives in their town.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
'Cause I saw a poster. I did see a poster pop up, right, in an episode?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we love Dove.
Felix fish out and they're yelling at each other and they're all throwing ducks.
Wait, Felix was at the game?
No, he wasn't. Mr. Fishoda doesn't let him play Lucky Ducky because Felix gives all the duckies different voices and personalities and it makes it take a while. That's why it was weird that he showed up that night. But nobody back there wants to hear that maybe Mr. Fishoda didn't do it.
Oh my god, of course! Felix Fishoder! It's so Felix! He has access to Mr. Fishoder's gun, he was fighting with both Mr. Fishoder and Con Candy Dan, and most importantly, he has a motive! He has a motive to frame his brother!
Because he's mad Mr. Fishoder doesn't like his Lucky Ducky voices?
No, because I bet you if Mr. Fishoder goes to jail, Felix gets his money. We gotta go to the cops.
Oh, mind if I don't go to the cops? I have to pick up my dry cleaning because it's dry now.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Thank you, Scary Carney. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, everything fits perfectly.
What's this for?
Olive bar.
What?
I thought you could have imported olives and they could go there.
Oh, I'm not sure.
While you wait for a burger, you help yourself to an imported olive.
Okay.
I got these on my way over. You can pay me later.
I wish Larry was here. We could talk a little bit about Teddy. It was fun to write for him in this context. The guy who we realized pretty late in the game that he needed to really, this scene where he shows up with the cart on wheels, the mobile Bob Burger mobile, as he calls it. This finally helped us crack the Bob, Linda, and Teddy story and helped us understand exactly, how he specifically fits into this story and will drive, the whole rest of the movie for the grown-ups. It was quite satisfying to try and then finally arrive at this. And we knew we had it when we had this. It was instantly apparent that we had found the piece that was missing.
Larry's also a really good singer.
That's true.
When we were talking earlier about singing people.
That's right. That's a good point.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, Larry can sing very well.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. I've heard him. I've done karaoke with Larry. He was very impressive.
He's got it.
Yeah, you performed "I've Had the Time of My Life" as a duet on stage wearing a dress with Larry Murphy.
That's true, and I was definitely the weak link in that.
He sold it. Great scene. I think a lot about Bernard's boards in this scene. I love the little heads peeking over the back seat. I love everyone crouched down. This felt like filmic to me. This scene. This is one of the scenes that early on we had it, we liked it, we never, and as much as we rewrote the rest of the movie, this scene got very little rewriting because it was always we hoped exactly what it needed to be. The great Gary Cole doing Sergeant Bosco and this great boards. I won't say anything about the light.
It's very nice.
Can't keep going back. I can't keep talking about it. Oh, look at the acting. This is the other great pleasure, of working with Bernard in particular and Brian and their team, because you always want these little things, right? You always aspire to have like the eyebrows go up in just a way, just so, and little pupil shifts that indicate the internal life of the character. And we get lots of that on the TV show and we enjoy it. But we just had it at every stage in the movie. It was always there from the very first thumbnail, and that was so fun. For me, that's such a pleasure to have killer boards, even when they're this loose, half-drawn thing. You already have the acting, hitting each character alive. That was what a luxury.
That's the end of the movie.
Oh, it ends so abruptly. I have notes.
Oh, did we talk through the reels that we prepped?
Do you want us to do a lot of so you can spread out our commentary throughout with as if we're thinking about our answers? Good question, Lauren.
I hope by the time people are watching this, they've safely seen it in the theater and enjoyed it, maybe told their friends, maybe gone back. Yeah, we hope we've had a good premiere. This is a pregnant moment here. We don't know what's going to happen. Any other parting words you'd like to share with the fans who've made a point of watching this and listening?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being there for us.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to say I love you all, every one of you that's listening. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching Bob's, and all your dreams are going to come true.
Aw.
Yeah. Or two of the 4.
3 dreams.
Be reasonable.
All right. One dream's going to come true.
Can we pick which dream?
Yeah, we get to pick which dream comes true.
3 out of 5 dreams? I think 3 out of 5 dreams is a pretty reasonable thing. You'll marry the wrong person, but you'll have the right job.
Send us your dreams. We'll decide which one comes true.
Yeah.
Maybe Bob's Burgers 2 could be about your wrong dream coming true.
Bob's Burgers, careful what you wish for.
Sometimes dreams are bad.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for lending us your voices once again.
Thank you,
you.
Lauren and Nora and
Yeah,
everybody for making that movie.
Yes, thanks for writing a great, beautiful movie and everyone that did the hard work.
Yeah, thanks for whoever called you around the time we were doing those shows and offered us this chance.
Amen.
Thank you,
Pleasure.
guys.
See you at the next record, I guess.
Thanks for watching.
All right. More commentary. We're going to continue our commentary. This is Lauren Bouchard, and I'm joined now by Bernard Derriman, my co-director on this feature film.
Hello.
Ruben Hickman, our production designer.
Hello.
And Nora Smith, who wrote the movie along with me and runs the show, the series with me as well. Let's dive right in and waste no time. One of the things that is different about this movie versus the TV show is your production design, Ruben. Kick us off here. My impressions are many. I have lots to say about what you brought to this, but I think people should hear it from your point of view. What does a production designer do on a movie, and how did you apply those skills to this one and turning a TV show into a movie?
All right. Yeah. Well, a production designer is responsible for the look of the movie, the kind of final picture in every way. What we don't have to do with as much is animation, the movement of things. Definitely not the sound and the story. So let's just say everything else except those. No, there's other things that we don't have to do with as well, of course. And, it's something like this, which is, a long-standing, very popular television show. The task was to find a way to make it cinematic, to bring scope and scale to it, which is scope and scale, unfortunately, is a cliche that we all say in the industry.
Yeah, but really a meaningful cliche. I mean, at least in my opinion, it was really relevant to talk about scope and scale because the TV show intentionally deals with smallness. We spend time and effort, sometimes even really explicitly shrinking stories and settings. And so here, making a movie, we had to figure out how to bring our take on scope and scale, but without being stupid.
Yeah.
It wasn't, the Belchers go to space or whatever. It had to be organic.
Exactly.
And what I think we ended up focusing on was, this perhaps is a good example of just these. When you're any given shot, you're looking at light and dark and depth and motion and weather, right? And that transition we saw, that was something you and Bernard fought for and worked hard on, right? So that those
That's right.
stairs tilted, as the camera goes up.
Yeah.
So I mean, I agree that it's a overused, but boy oh boy, it was handy to us. Scope and scale, that was our guiding light, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll pitch you later my movie about called Scope and Scale, with a talking microscope and a talking telescope. But yeah, we kept track of weather, we kept track of time of day, light direction, all these things to try to get as much of that cinematic feel as we could. I thought it was really interesting because I worked on other things like SpongeBob, where you take a popular television show and do something with it. And the ideas were always like, let's go to space with SpongeBob, or let's go to the real world and make CG robots or something. And I was, I guess, happy to know that you guys weren't going to do that, and that your, kind of special idiosyncratic take of keeping everything in the town and actually going kind of inward, like the Secret Room and Carneopolis, instead of like, these far-reaching epic travels. It's just around the corner. It's just that, but as kids become adults, you discover that the wilder, scarier world is right there.
Sorry, kids.
So I thought that was a neat take, and I thought it fit to the I don't know, the sensibilities of the show.
Elsewhere on this DVD, I spend time talking about a couple of those things you just mentioned. In particular, we definitely wanted it to feel, the analogy I use is like one of those toy houses you have when you're a kid where it opens up like a Malibu Barbie dream house, and you can unfold a familiar thing and see it in a new way. And that was really what we wanted to do with, with this treehouse that we're watching now, and with later with the pier. It was this sense of discovery, like you just said, and designing an interior space that you never knew was there, but was hidden in plain sight the whole time. That seemed like the more fun challenge. That was going to be our version of going big.
I love that idea, and I think there's something that, a lot of children's books and things play with that idea, and it's just a great theme that seemed really appropriate to this property, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it started with episode 2. We wanted Bob inside the walls of the house.
A great episode, yeah.
In episode 2 of our series, and so we set this pace for ourselves, and it was nice that the movie was our chance to do it, but on this grander scale.
That's right.
Let's talk about a little bit about light. At the risk of saying this on every commentary that I'm going to record for this, to see the slanting light and the shadows, to me, it gives me no end of pleasure. It feels like the fullest culmination of 2D animation, where it's still proudly 2D. It's still a line that you can see and perceive. It's not trying to be 3D or 2.5D, but it's got light as an idea in almost every shot. And it seems, Bernard, tell me if you agree, that Ruben and you collaborated on that and made it just a priority and a real pleasure to just paint that in all these shots. Is that you want to speak to that?
Exactly, and I think, and in just watching what we're looking at here, these clouds behind them, we spoke at length about this. There's this storm that's coming in. There's going to be rain later, so we had this whole thing where the storm came in from the ocean, so you can see any of these shots out to sea. We had the clouds, and then we had the shadows going from there, and just adding it all in. It's another thing, going back to what you were saying about from going from the show to the movie. We'd love to have all these shadows in the show, and every once in a while we do add them, but the beauty of working on the movie was that we could just go to town on all these shots and just drop them in everywhere, and stuff like this looks great.
Yeah.
What? Tina, get your head out of your boobs.
Right.
Hey, Tina, you're not really thinking about Felix and Fanny, are you?
Fantasy Jimmy Jr., what are you doing here?
You're thinking about me. You're thinking about this. Boom, 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 boom.
Holy crap. I don't have time for this.
So that's that question you want to ask me? You're not nervous that I'll say no. You're nervous that I'll say yes. And that real me is just never going to be as good as fantasy me.
Dang it, Jimmy Jr., not now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm okay.
Tina, focus.
Yep, coming. Here I am.
Ugh, we lost him. Great.
There's the band shell. See you soon, Shelly. We're gonna rock so hard. A lot of confidence here, despite what some robots may say.
What?
Nothing.
Look, the golf cart.
And he's parked in front of the funhouse like a true criminal.
It looks so good. It's so, it just, to me, it speaks to the power of the medium. I think 2D animation, I guess there's an open question as to whether it's a relic of the past, like black and white photography, or whether it's evergreen and just this, a medium that will keep hopefully having resurgences and whatnot. But to me, regardless of what the public opinion is, I just think it'll never not be my favorite form of animation, and frankly, my favorite medium for storytelling. Nora, do you spend time thinking about this? How lucky we are to be able to make a 2D show in 2022 or whatever it is right now. It seems like we might be one of a very few released in theaters in any year in this decade.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they keep happening. They seem like so much more painterly, and I don't know. I don't think kids are bumped by it, I think kids are just like drawn to, if it's a face, like how babies like really big faces, I guess. I don't know, my baby does. And I think kids are just drawn to a face that they like. It's not about the 3D stuff. That seems more like our stuff. Not that this is a movie just for kids. It's hopefully for everyone. But I enjoy both, but I think I enjoy both. But I, of course, love the painterly aspect of 2D that you don't quite get in 3D.
Or in stop motion. Stop motion's amazing too, and I love watching it, but I just think it's so... maybe we can throw it back to Bernard and Ruben, but it seems like this is an artist drew
Please
this.
throw it
You know
back
what
to
I mean? No, you think that an artist drew this. Like, that's what I love about it, that a hand drew this. And of course, artists work on every, it's not, if it's animation, then artists are involved. And that's certainly true of 3D and stop motion. But I just feel like with 2D, it's so pure because, sure, we use computers, but it could have been drawn on paper. It was drawn by a hand using a pen-like implement. And it means the human hand was moving through space to make Bob's nose do that turn, or that umbrella, had to be drawn by designers. And I love that it starts as drawings and it ends as drawings. There isn't I feel like there's something so great what you do, Ruben and Bernard, that you use your hands in this particular way, that you've mastered this skill, and that we get to bring it to life, but with motion and words. I just think of it as, it still amazes me to this day, even though I know how it's done, and I also am an adult. I still think it's a bit of a magic trick to pull this off. Do you guys think about that when you're in the depths of Photoshop or Storyboard Pro and you're slogging through the pencil miles, as they say?
Yeah, I do, for sure. I also, Bernard, you interrupt freely if you want to. But yeah, I've always loved being able to see the artist's hand, in paintings, more gestural, more impressionistic, you might say. And there's a big effort. Of course, I worked in CG for years where the entire goal is to hide the artist's hand. Let's say, like matte paintings and CG movies are often still done by hand in Photoshop by, skilled painters. But the idea is to make sure it never looks like a human did it. You know what I mean? And that's not my favorite. So I was excited to get back to 2D, which is something, that I loved always and got into the industry for. I had a lot of fun with CG and still think it's great, but I agree there's something very special about 2D and knowing that an artist did it. I guess it's like the difference between hearing a great drummer and hearing a drum machine, right? It's like there can be something kind of empty about one of them sometimes, even though both are great.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I'm just lucky I have a job. The 2D isn't around as much as it used to be. So there were a ton of studios, and when I started out, there were studios all over the world, and they kind of all dropped off the 2D one. So it's just nice to be able to draw still.
Well, I hope it comes back, or at least doesn't ever fully go away, I guess, is another way to say that. It's just as an end, trying to appreciate it as an audience member and a fan, to me, it still has there's a need for it. There's still a place for it. I'll never, ever get tired of watching Miyazaki movies, and I'll never, I don't think, aspire to do anything other than just be as, good looking as those. It just seems like that's there's still a kind of a gold standard of 2D animation. There's still some works they'll never get old, and I hope we can do that kind of work. It just seems timeless. Whereas I worry that sometimes the slickness of 3D animation, not always, but sometimes it might feel dated. In a couple decades, I worry that some movies will really look of their time. I guess it's true for everything, but I think 2D might age better.
I hope so. Yeah.
We should talk about this room too. This was like the biggest undertaking of the whole movie, being a
yeah. Let's talk about production design and directing and writing as it pertains to this. Because Nora, why don't we kick it off and then we'll throw to them. We knew we wanted this room. We thought a lot about this room. We at one point thought it would be a theater that started to feel a little too meta. And then we were kind of excited when we came upon this version of it, and when we realized how integral the submarine would be, and the organ, and then ultimately the shooting gallery. It became this circular space that we knew we're going to show off, and with Tina, I guess, as in the bar here as the fourth quadrant in her little story intersecting here, and her disillusionment. And so we, from a writing point of view, we almost knew right away the biggest problem we were going to have is that we were going to accidentally put a big chunk of the movie in this room, and as a result, it had to deliver because we were going to be spending a good amount of time here. So that really, I feel like that was the headline when we went into boards, and when we started talking to Ruben and his team. It was all about how can we sustain this amount of time in the movie in one location, and what was going to be, fun to look at and think about and listen to, et cetera, et cetera. Do you want to speak to that any more?
Well, yes, we knew pretty early we wanted to be in the secret room, and I think to me it's sort of like this probably isn't what you were thinking when you pitched it, but like got a Goonies aspect to it of like just hidden spaces that are in your town, Sure. I am a fan of Goonies. And I think there's something very childlike about finding these hidden spaces there and there. And you guys were talking about this earlier. And just the fun of something that you see every day, like the pier, and then there's this whole world underneath, which seems like, I guess, like, of course adults hopefully are excited by it too, but like very childlike excitement. And then we realized we were going to be down there a lot, but I feel like that was scarier in the writing phase. And then when we started seeing it like later, I wasn't scared of that at a certain point, really. It just felt kind of like so much was happening, and everywhere you look is kind of so gorgeous that I wasn't worried about it at a certain point when we just were screening it.
Good. How about you, Bernard?
We were hung up for a while on when it was a theatre. I remember for a long period we were trying to work out how do we make this space work when 80% of it's going to be seats. And do you remember that in some of the early boards? Mm-hmm. And then we eventually sort of started trying to open it up more, and then that's when we came up with this whole backstory of the submarine and the ride, and then everything else sort of went on from that. Mm-hmm. Then we started adding bars, and it's a very Fisher place too. It's a type of thing that we imagine Calvin would have for himself. Yeah.
Was there going to be a show, like at one point, maybe a live show with mermen and mer-women, like doing underwater?
Yeah, it was in dialogue. Yeah. We weren't going to show it, but we were going to describe it. They used to have. I forget what it was, 19 sailors who would drown on a daily basis and be rescued by mermaids or something like that.
Right. And there was like a poster. There was going to be a poster with a really hot...
Poseidon.
What's it called? Poseidon, that Tina was, of course.
Yeah. Well, he got in. That sculpture is pretty hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Huh? What the? Grover?
Don't want this! No, I don't want her!
That sheep.
Take this thing off me!
Holy crap. Psst, Dana, psst. What? Grover. Pow, pow. I figured it out.
You guys seem very excited about something. Is it my sweet jam?
What? Why are you looking at me like that? Like I farted. The other one's being jerky.
Oh, no reason. I forget.
What are you holding?
Nothing. Candy. So good.
Now you're gagging.
Nope.
Let me see.
He really wants some candy.
Spit it. What? Is that a tooth? It's so weird looking and...
Ruben, let's get you talking. I mean, you touched all of this so many times. You brought all of your skills to it.
Yeah, this was really fun. Yeah, it was kind of a deep collaboration, of course, with Phil Hayes, the art director from the series. He and I got very obsessed with going deep on Carnival Baroque, which is a recognized genre of art. Very cool, very weird, kind of almost a creepy, tacky Baroque, tacky in a good way though, I'd say. And trying to imagine what the fish odor's ancestors might be like. Certainly eccentric and strange. Maybe they were friends with Aleister Crowley or something like that. And just trying to go to town on that. Also, the late great Dave Creek made some great contributions in the mural. So it was a great chance to collaborate with artists from the series as well. But yeah, it was really fun, and it was like it was like a huge environment. Like each direction you look is its own special thing. The submarine, the orchestrama, the staircase,
Yeah, and then of course it connects. That's the pleasure. We have a long way to go before we get there. But this, I'll just spoiler. It's we when they break out, they get to go under the pier. So it's like going back to this theme of this conversation, which is these hidden spaces that are right there under your feet and hidden in plain sight. This one connects to this under pier that is this middle space that's neither storage nor is it quite as adorned as this secret room, but it's also a fun environment. We spent a lot of time there, and we in fact we designed more of it than we were able to include in the final movie, and we can speak to it specifically, I guess, when we get there, the little bits and bobs that we all have as screen grabs in our on our hard drives, but will never be seen. This to me though, it speaks again to the challenge that we gave you guys, you on the visual side of things, which was, how to pull this off in a way that, that didn't, I don't know, break the bank. We had a budget on this movie, but, we could, writers can, in animation, as even though theoretically everything's the same cost, it's all just pencil miles and person hours, but on some level, you can still, I think, write yourself into a deep hole with moving camera, for example, and shifts in perspective that are costly to animate it.
Right.
But you guys just did it. There was a lot of bravery, I feel like, here. Bernard, it seems like in boards, the parts that were hard were the parts you were most excited about. So we never really had any friction. We were just always, all of us, and Janelle was fearless too, we were always just trying to make the ambitious things work. Does that sound accurate, Bernard?
Yeah, and again, we're used to working fast on the show, and it was, I think it was a pleasure for all of us. I know for you too, but to be able to slow down and spend some time on this stuff when you're making 200 how many minutes of animation per week of the show are we doing every year? We're doing
16 million minutes a week.
I think it is.
It's a lot.
Thereabouts, but. To have 90 minutes and spend a few years on it, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so some of this stuff we, and I know we see glimpses of it in the deleted scenes, but we went through a whole period here where a lot of this song sequence was turned into a white room, and we had that till quite late. This was everything you could see here was white, and that was just working on the movie. Some of the time we could afford to spend exploring that stuff was awesome.
Yeah, boy, amen. Time, Nora and I talked about this a little bit in one of our other commentaries, but time is a gift in any creative project, and it certainly is on a movie. You feel it, especially those of us that are working in TV and then jump over onto this feature schedule. You see the potential immediately to do your best work because time is suddenly opened, and there's still not enough of it, but there's more, and you get to spend it going back and redrafting drafts and reworking ideas, and boy, what a luxury. Nora, I have a question for you. Big screen versus small screen. That's another big dichotomy, not just everything we've talked about up until this point, but also the experience of watching something. We're going to all go and be together in person, which is not something we're totally used to doing. And we're all
Even
going to
before
watch.
COVID, we just hate being around each other.
We avoid it. And yet here we will be sitting next to each other in a dark room and watching this on the big screen. And it's, I think all of us on this call, it's something we before COVID, we all enjoyed doing. And here we are, we're going to be going back to it. But we also make TV, and we also live in this era when, this conversation is happening around, maybe you can make a great movie that just goes straight to streaming. And of course, the answer is yes, you can. Do you want to speak to, what are you hoping to get out of sitting in a dark room and watching this?
Well, to me, it's terrifying to think of that. But I kind of wasn't. There was just so many people on the movie, and three of them are here. I'm not one of them, that were so on it for that I was like, okay, they will take care of that, and it will look beautiful. And of course, we had to do the writing thing, but we I think we immediately thought of like, for however we work. The dead body came up pretty quick, and we're like, dead body, that's a big screen thing, right? We can't do a dead body on a show on Fox at night. I mean, I guess we probably could, but we're not really that kind of show. So that, like, the big screen stuff for us, I feel like came, with like what's the biggest, smallest story we can break that hopefully has a dead body and a murder to solve and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as like big screenness, I felt in very good hands, and I just wanted to make them happy. Like, I remember the chase scene, like that's the kind of thing I'm terrible at writing action, so I was like, chase scene, and it's good. And then it turns into something. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's how you make stuff that is supposed to be on a big screen.
Yeah.
With what Bernard did, it was just like, all right, movies like that kind of, when you do that kind of thing.
Yeah, big set pieces. I agree with all that, and I would add, for me, big screen also means big speakers. And my passion for audio is also one of the ways, Bernard, you and I just divide our labor on this movie as co-directors, right? It's to some extent, not at all completely, but to some extent, you concern yourself with the visuals, and I concern myself with the audio, not because we don't want to play in the other's sandbox, but which we do all the time, but because it's the thing that keeps us up at night.
Yes.
Right? And I would say, I think it's safe to say, and I stay up at night worrying whether or not we were going to bring enough bass and enough, orchestra and enough sound effects and enough of the actors' performances to the speakers, because these are going to be, this is going to be blasted in a louder and bigger way than our TV show ever has, I suppose, except for when we get to go to Comic-Con and screen little clips. Do you want to speak to that, Bernard? Because you also love audio, I know, and music and dialogue, and you never hesitate to have your hands on that stuff. Do you think we got there with the big speakers aspect of the big screen experience?
Yeah, I thought when it came to the score, that was where I think the movie really lifted too, after we'd sort of had some temp in and everything, but to hear what our composers, and I think we spoke about this too, how great it was having the composers from the show work on the movie. And so it really brought it back to the show. It wasn't like we were sort of throwing in something that was foreign to us, but we used our composers and they did an amazing job.
Yep, absolutely.
But also, Bernard, you threw in your own music to animate to, right? And I mean, it was
always
incredible. I mean, it's like it wouldn't be what it was without that, of course.
And that is something that I think, especially when you're boarding and animating it too, or particularly animating too, when you have some of that big music that you can pull, just pull from anywhere, from your favorite movies, drop it in, and it's just a flavor that can really inspire you. And when you start hearing that in your head, it's already a big film, a big feature film, which is what we're always trying to do. And especially like visually, obviously, we really wanted to elevate this to make it feel like a big screen experience. And so when you have that music with it, it really, takes off. And that's what a lot of this chase is. Actually, I was trying to find all kinds of music that had really fast beats, trying to find something that would help with the pace of this chase and give it a lot of speed, and really wanted this to be really exciting at this stage of the movie.
Yeah, and a big shout out to our mixers too. I think the Formosa team understood that this scene had to be that, you know, almost impossible task of sound effects up and music up, but dialogue audible. You
And
know,
jokes.
and jokes, exactly. And it's not, and it sort of technically can't be done, and yet a great mixer doesn't tell you that. They don't turn and say, sorry, you know, asshole, producer, director, guy, you can't have that. That's not physically possible. They say, I can make that work with magic and trickery, where you don't notice that the sound effects are coming up here and the music's dipping slightly, and then the whole thing shifts again when the dialogue has to poke through. But there's sound design in here like layers deep. I mean, the little Kawasaki engine that we, you know, found for the car for some of these moments, and the tires on wood, you know, they walked me through, Ron and his team at Formosa walked me through just how they did some of this stuff. I mean, they had microphones underneath Teslas riding over particular pieces of architecture that they thought would sound right for the, you know, the tires on these. It's really a pleasure. I mean, this, you know, it speaks to the collaborative nature of these things, of animation in particular, but movies and television in general. And it's just always, I think, the pleasure of finding out you're working with somebody who loves their job. And then, you know, you're going to do the best thing that you could possibly do because everyone's having a good time. And it's, you know, I think it speaks to, I guess, the other thing that's worth talking about a little bit. I don't want to belabor it because the whole world has talked about the pandemic and will forever. But, you know, we made some of this movie together and some of it we were not together. Ruben, I'll throw back to you since I want to hear your voice. What's your sense of the future of animation? Will we all go back to working together in one place full time and missing our families? Or will we, do you think this hybrid thing's gonna fly? Are we all gonna now do some of our work from home and, you know, only go into meetings a few times a week? How do you think it's gonna go?
Just like you said. Yeah, I do think it'll be a hybrid from here on out. I mean, I think that we all kind of knew that, you know, as all these amazing digital tools, even for 2D, started to become ubiquitous there, that we could work from home, but we still really weren't doing it much, and the pandemic sort of pushed us that direction, you know, by force. And I think that would be the one, you know, silver lining, at least for our industry, for an otherwise, you know, horrible event. And yeah, it seems, I was shocked, to be honest, that our schedule had to change a little, but not much, you know, and we were able to just keep going in a number of departments, barely missed a beat when we all just, you know, loaded our computers into our cars and drove them home.
Yep, and the series too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one day we were all down there with masks on, you know, carrying our monitors, each one of us. Like ants or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was amazing, and it worked. I think it'll be a hybrid, though, because I do think there's also something very important about being in the room with your team sometimes. Yeah. And I don't know, I've just recently started getting sick of being at home. Maybe other people are starting to feel that way. But by and large, it should be a great improvement hopefully in the quality of life in this town anyway, Los Angeles, where people have horrible commutes and things like that. And I hope it really is a remedy to that.
Yeah.
This is my nightmare. We're living my nightmare.
Phones! We can use our phones! Where are they?
Grover took our phones.
Holy crap! Oh, God! Kids, hold my hands! Where are your hands? Where are your hands?
And put that memory in a place you don't think about. Now let's get back to the wharf, launch my cousins into the sea, and we're back on track, baby.
Okay, I gotta think. I don't want to breathe all of our oxygen.
And Lauren, so we should talk about the fact that for a long time this was all going to be pitch black.
Yeah. Here comes the audio nerd pitch, right? It's like, what if the pivotal emotional part of the story takes place in the dark? And everyone was so nice to me. They basically agreed, even though I imagine now that then everyone was like, winking at each other behind my back when I would leave, and they'd be like, we're not going to really do 5 minutes in the dark, right? We're going to have lights on, right?
We'll secretly animate it because he's dumb. And then we'll be like, oh wow, someone accidentally did this. I guess. Let's
Yeah,
just use
it
this.
really was. It really was that almost you joke, but there was a lot of like, well, we should ship the animation in case we want to see a little bit, and so we did actually animate the whole thing, and of course, cooler heads prevailed, and I do not have any regrets about having some light. I like this. I like the contrast between the darker version and when the night light goes on, and I like the flashing off and on, and I like the claustrophobia of the darkness, but I am glad that we didn't do it in the pitch dark. I think it would have been the danger is it takes you out of the movie, and all of a sudden you're staring at that screen, not literally not seeing black, but seeing gray,
Right.
and that would have been the worst. I think
Checking your phone.
yeah, God forbid. And so this just keeps your eyes up there and tells you that there are some characters in jeopardy here, and that you should not, nothing should be asking you to be thinking about the craft, but rather just the story and the stakes. So there's a cool audio, version of this movie, and certainly the seeing impaired, I think, are hopefully enjoying Bob's the series and Bob's the movie for what it is as a radio play, because we produce it that way, and we think a lot about how this would play with no picture, because we love audio and we love producing stories that can stand on their own. But in the end, I'm glad we lit this. But Ruben, should we talk about your idea that we never got to do the little power light that was going to be lighting Bob and Linda, especially from below on the dashboard? I still miss that little light.
Yeah. And whenever you do something like this that's basically supposed to be, extremely dark, well, you see her night lights flashing on. Just to be clear, that's what creates the big yellow light, of course.
Yeah.
But there was supposed to be a subtler light from the dashboard that was to glow on everybody.
Like one of those old, not an LED, but what they used to use before that, right? These LED, these little bulbs that would then be trapped behind this little piece of, orange or
colored glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the colored glass would affect it. That would have been cool. The interesting thing about 2D sometimes is that you have more leeway when you just decide to create kind of a atmosphere light. Here they are, you can see them, but it's dark. And I don't think the audience questions it too much. That's one of the beauties of 2D is because you're lacking literal qualities in a few other places.
Yeah.
You're not going to get caught up in saying, wait, how can we see anything? I think it's enough to be like, it's dark in there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
okay
that's right.
with whatever the light
Cheating is accepted a little bit more, perhaps, in this medium.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to do the little light. It probably would have been, I'm not going to say better, because we have lots of beautiful lighting all over.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been neat. But lots of things always fall through the fingers when you're making something like this.
Another thing about working on a movie like this too for so long is, they always say it's only finished when they take it off you. And I'm still seeing the odd scene. I'm like, is this the latest version of the movie? Because I thought we fixed that.
Yeah.
Well, that was a funny thing, and when it was like we had to turn it in, but we'd still like watch it and like write down like quote picture notes, and Bernard would be like, "What if he just like did like a double take and like maybe dipped his head back or whatever, and like we'd all be like." Yeah, and then the people that have to say no were like, no, Bernard, no. But it was fun to watch it happen.
Sure, we'd go to screenings and then we'd be told no notes, and you'd be like, I'm secretly taking notes. I just in case, I'm just going to write them down. I just have to write them down. And then if we can't do it, we can't do it. But if somebody magically, would allow a final polish, then I'm going to write my note.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they'd be like, oh, we can do that. And then that's like with little kids when you like give in to a tantrum and then you're like, oh, then I can always do it and see what happens.
Well, that's one of the great blessings of our production guru, Janelle Montgomery, which is that she has an unnatural amount of patience for that kind of begging and pleading and tantrum throwing. All of us on this call are, really like to keep working. We're, it's overused to say the pit bull who won't let a thing go out of their mouth, but that's, that's apt. We just won't let go. And I think instead
And
of
having
being
notes too late that we should have had earlier.
yeah,
That's the worst thing.
that's right. Right, it's embarrassing, but you write it and you say it. And what Janelle does so well is give us the room to say our thing that we should have said earlier, or that we just thought of now, or that we really, 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 really pretty please want. And then she says so often, let me see what I can do, which is magic words that are not, you don't hear that from producers who are operating from a place of fear. She's the bravest of us all, and will go down fighting on so many different fronts. Most of them we don't even see, but we all, those of us talking to each other now, get to live in this blessed universe where we just get to keep asking for things, and more than half the time we get it.
Yeah, well, that, and Janelle and Annalise too, I think they did exactly that, because we had the craziest lists of stuff, and I, in a million years, didn't think we were going to get around to all of it. But near the end of production, there was eventually, at one point, they said, "Well, we've done all your notes," and I was like, "My gosh, I couldn't believe we'd gone through them all." They somehow managed to get them all done, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Was CBD the term we used?
CBB could be better.
CBD is something else.
What is it?
Could be better.
CBB
could be better.
And that was a list that must have been 100 pages long.
Yeah.
And at the end, we'd call it, and I said, "This is never going to get done," but we got most of them, if not all of them. So it was great.
Yeah.
We left a few in there for fun.
Lauren, you were always really positive about that.
I mean, it's just an incredible group of people. We're really lucky. This is our first movie. Not Ruben's, but the rest of us, or maybe Bernard, you've done movies too. But Nora and I, at least speaking for ourselves, our first movie. But we've had so many of us have worked together for so long. That's what's nice, I think, about having a TV show that goes a decade. I mean, my God, the amount of trust and faith we have in each other is earned. I think it's sort of natural. We found each other, and we have a pretty good working relationship that partly is just chemical, but it's also we've got to see it in action all these years and know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and that applies to our coordinators and producers and APs and everybody who is touching this thing. One great thing was just taking the TV crew and bringing them over and knowing that we were continuing our relationship. I feel so lucky that we got to make this thing, in our shop, with each other, and it wasn't this foreign experience. It was basically just like this sort of dream version of the show.
Yeah, that would have been crazy if we had to have worked with new people. Ugh. But Ruben was new and he's great.
Well, except for Ruben.
Maybe it's not so bad.
Exactly.
I'm okay.
Ruben's a never let him go type of
Right.
new person. So
He's
someday
trapped.
he'll be one of the ones who say, "Oh, you trapped me."
I like it.
And he's in Lauren's house now.
Hopefully.
Louise! Not the best time for going on rides.
Louise, no, it's too dangerous.
Dad, you're not gonna make it in time. But the track goes right past the fuse. I'm gonna grab it when I go by.
No, I'm gonna make it. I'm starting to get good at this.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Come on, Mole. Don't be so slow. Still faster than you, Dad, though. No offense.
Yeah, but there's a wicked turn coming up. There it is.
Oh, Louise, be careful. Don't get decapitated and then burnt up.
I won't. Whoa. Dad, you look like you're about to climb right in front of me.
Nope, I'm gonna leap across really quickly. Oh God, not that quickly.
Get off the track.
Oh, it's getting close to the animals.
Okay, got it.
If you miss, we won't have a second chance.
I know. Very helpful info. Thank you.
You might have been right about being faster. I mean, just a lot of beams. This place is so...
This was a sequence that didn't change much from the very first draft, did it?
No.
The end of the movie.
Also another secret, hidden location in a way.
Yeah.
That's right. The space between the space, another liminal
That's
space.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And also the struts echoing the pilings on the pier. I never noticed that
Right.
before. How it's all these sort of these spindly little supports. I don't know. There's a metaphor there somewhere. I'm not going to try for it now, though. I'm not an idiot.
This was like all Bernard, right? This was all Bernard. Like we just wrote like she reaches for it and it's tough and she gets it or something, But he added this whole other layer of her like falling off and then having to go through the whole cart, and It's like this spot, and also I was gonna say earlier the spot where Grover is lighting the fuse, like just like there wasn't much on paper, and then this whole amazing physical gag came out of it from Bernard.
That's great. We like when writers do that sometimes. We used to get, like, on other movies, it would be like, and they opened the door and saw the most fantastic room they'd ever seen. And then they just moved into
this and that and the other thing.
Off you go.
Good luck, artists. No, but it can be great too, because, everybody loves a challenge.
Yeah.
That's a nice shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw, they're singing.
Ooh, Teddy, can I borrow your phone real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Are you ordering takeout? Can we get traditional Thai street food from that new place?
No, I'm not ordering takeout. Sorry.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, a lot of people think of robbery as kind of the coolest division, where the cool cops work. I don't know if that's true, but, a lot of people think it. Hello.
Bye, front desk person. You were here when I came in 3 hours ago, weren't you? I remember your shirt. You probably remember me too, right? This face? You're not looking up. There you go. You remember this ugly mug, right? You have earbuds in. Did you hear anything I said? Oh, you did. Good. Anyway, this is Grover Fishoder saying good night.
Hi there. First on the scene. No biggie.
It's this, maybe we could, with the last few minutes we have left, and you can speak to collaboration. I think we've all enjoyed each other, working with each other. Ruben, you've worked with lots of people before you met us. Now we have the opportunity to figure out how, we're far enough along in our careers that we get to not worry about employment, but rather worry about work, if that makes sense. Worry about making sure the work is valuable and is good and is how we want to, finish out our careers. And it's an incredibly collaborative medium, this, and perhaps maybe the most in the world. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. How does it feel from your end?
I love that about it. I think many of us artists, we started out drawing as a form of escape, kind of like being quiet with headphones on and just going into your own space. And then some of us and then we realized that it was super collaborative once we hit the industry, and I think it was a shock. I see this like evolution for many artists, but then they start to slowly embrace it. And if you become someone who leads teams like Bernard and I, you try to think about, how there's something slightly unnatural about collaboration for, people that started out wanting to escape into a drawing or a painting, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to kind of bring them along and kind of knit it together in a way. And that becomes a whole new interesting skill set, I would say, is trying to get each band member to play their own beat when they've mastered their thing, often kind of by themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's been really interesting and insightful to I guess the psychology of an artist in a way for me, and helpful in every part of my life.
Yeah.
How's that?
Such a good answer.
What a
you like
great
that?
Vegetarian answer.
Top that, Bernard.
Bernard.
I have to answer that now?
Yeah, you got to follow that.
You could just agree.
I was just going to talk about Tammy and Jocelyn here. We never got to add them walking behind them. They're about to appear here. I really wanted to have them. And then Jenny Slate recorded some really funny dialogue of them walking up, because I thought we were going to do that eventually. We didn't quite get around to it. See, my answer, there they are.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll leak it.
But now my answer's nothing like Ruben's.
Yeah, but we can watch Zeke's animation, and that answers everything, because that's from Bernard.
Right. Yeah. Right. He lets his pencil do his talking.
And I remember there was a note where it was kind of good, and I think Nora was like, maybe he's a little good at parkour. Just right, something like that. And we're like, right, we gotta make him worse at parkour.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite funny physical pieces of comedy in the movie.
Yes, him trying to roll up from lying down onto his feet. Yes, I agree.
Do it. I'm gonna do it. You think because you saved the war for something, you're all brave now?
Yeah. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Your hat fell off.
Oh yeah.
Collaboration wise, it does make it feel like much safer to do more things, you know? Like as someone who's just if I even think about having to do with like a whole new set of people, that's terrifying. But with it feels like a warm bath of being able to just like totally have fun with it and not like and know that there's like a huge safety net that's like making it good. And also there's a Bernard unicycle story that I want to tell. No, not really. But it made me think that maybe as a young man he wanted to turn inward sometimes as well. But Bernard, maybe you'll draw it for one of the extras on the DVD.
I think it'll be an Easter egg, the unicycle story.
Yeah, I agree with all of you. I think, Nora, that's a nice capper to point out that collaboration allows for risk-taking, creative risk-taking, perhaps more than the solo artist can do, and because it's too terrifying to do by yourself when you're out there all alone. I don't know who I'm thinking of, a novelist or somebody who really just has to stand alone with their work, and I think this is an unsung aspect of collaboration, which is that you're going to throw out an idea that is the crazy one, that is the nutso one, because you don't feel nervous that it will go forward unchecked. Your collaborators will either love it or hate it or something in between, but they'll respond and it'll evolve, but you've thrown it out there. And so in a way, by definition, you got at the new level of weird idea, without even taking drugs or having a traumatic experience that you're drawing upon. You just threw out a weird idea because you were, either in a room or on a Zoom with people you trusted. And I think that's nice. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining and spending this time. It's nice.